Good afternoon. Welcome. I'm John. I'm a bookseller at Literati bookstore in downtown Ann Arbor, Michigan. We're so pleased to welcome editors and contributors to MQR's Spring 2023 issue, SomaFlights, back to our At Home with Literati series this afternoon. Just a quick webinar overview for our attendees. The chat is closed to you, but you can keep the chat window open. I've shared the access document for this afternoon's reading there, and I'll also be there to answer any questions and interact with you as well. Live transcription is available if you need it on your using the CC icon on your toolbar, and I'll remind you of that in the chat as well. If you're watching us later on YouTube, there are always links to purchase books from Literati Bookstore in the description directly below me, and you can subscribe to our channel to be kept up to date with all of our At Home with Literati events, which will continue through 2023 by clicking the typewriter icon in the bottom right corner of your screen. And when we have new events for you, they'll appear in your inbox. You can also shop for more books at literatibookstore.com to ship anywhere in the United States. And you can, of course, visit our store in downtown Ann Arbor, which is open to the public for in-store shopping. But most of all, we'd like to thank you for your attendance this afternoon or this evening or much later this evening or this morning, depending on where and when in the world you may be joining us from. Without further ado, I'll introduce the editors of the issue who will introduce our contributors. So please join me in welcoming Vidhu Aggarwal and Petra Kuppers into your living rooms.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Hey, Vidhu. Glad to see you here. I'm Petra. I'm starting us up. So I'm Petra Kuppers, she, her. I'm on Anishinaabe territory, and I am a queer, cis, disabled white woman with silver fox hair and nice yellow glasses and a golden lipstick right now. And I'm so delighted to have you all here, people who are here right now, people who are joining us later on the YouTube link. And really the heart of this series is for all of us to meet each other and be with each other, because collaboration was central to SomaFlights. So Vidhu and I'm speaking for myself, and but I just had the best time working with Vidhu. We just had such a nice time thinking about SomaFlights. You're thinking about the embodied, thinking about the fantastical, thinking about the speculative, about all the different kinds of futurisms that so many of us are excited by and interested in as we're trying to change this world that we're in towards a more just and more enjoyable world. So the people that we've assembled here today are it's the second time that we're assembling to read to each other and to hear how our voices ping and echo and work with one another. So collaboration is the central theme. Saying hi to one another is what we're doing here. And I'm going to hand it over to Vidhu, who is going to introduce the first reader. Here you go, my dear.
Thank you, Petra. And yes, it was a sort of my mind meld in a way. We've talked about it that way in putting this issue together. And we're just so happy at the participation and having all of you here to share your work with us. And so I get to introduce Ashwini Basi, who will be our first reader and presenter, and whose artwork we were just thrilled to have. And you can find it in the online folio because it's really elaborate and beautiful, and there's sound files available. So Ashwini Basi is a bioinformatician from Kerala, India. She is interested in exploring the somatics of trauma, resilience, chronic pain, and disability through molecular genetics, poetry, and visual art. Her work has appeared or is forthcoming in Diagram, Frontier Poetry, Honey Literati, Rhino, The Offing, and elsewhere. Must, which won the 2020 Cut Bank Chapbook Contest prize, is her first poetry collection. Let's hand it to Ashwini.
Hi, thank you so much, Vidhu. I am so delighted to be here and be part of this issue of SomaFlights. When I saw the call for submissions, I was so excited, and I really wanted to submit to this because it really called to me as in my body to create work for this. So I'm so grateful to be part of this issue and to be with all of you who are here published in the SomaFlights issue. So I'm going to share my visual poem about chronic pain. So let me share my screen. Can you all see the screen? Yeah. So are you able to see it now? Just wanted to confirm that you can see it. Okay. Yeah, so this is the piece called What Did I Do Today? Just wanted to put my timer once again. Yeah, so this piece explores TMJ disorder. And as you can see, there's a lot of writing, there's a lot going on in here. So I'll read a bit from my artist statement about this piece. What Did I Do Today explores the heterotopia of chronic pain and disability caused by temporomandibular joint disorder. Chronic pain is complex, multidimensional, hypersubjective, and defiant of definitions. And the suffering it causes requires a multimodal approach for translation. And what did I do today is an attempt to translate the lived experience of chronic facial and jaw pain through 4 interrelated frames. 1, the drawing created in response to the TMD pain flare-up. 2, the words spontaneously written within the drawing in response to the pain flare-up. 3, the audio recording of these words. And 4, the fragments of molecular genetics landscapes that represent intense suffering caused by chronic pain and disability. And you can see these fragments here. These are from the protein sequence of SCN9A protein, which is involved in chronic pain. It is a sodium channel pain sensing neuron. So I've incorporated some of my bioinformatics background also into this work. And all of this, the shapes, words, colors, patterns, and words, everything has been created through automatism. I've just let emotions, bodily sensations, and perseverations associated with a specific pain flare-up just flow unfiltered from the limbic system to the fingertips. And the process acts as a form of raw release, a way to override the limitation of the analytical brain and its inability to expel suffering trapped in mind and body. And when those who want to interact this piece on the MQR website, I invite them to click on the audio and then zoom in and go through some of the detailed slides, which are also available of the pieces. So that's the exploration I would invite you to do. So I'll start, instead of playing the audio recording, I'll read the content. Sorry, I'm just trying to minimize my screen properly. 1 second. What did I do today? Nothing, nothing, nothing. I wasted my day in pain. I wasted my day. I did nothing except survive today. Nothing, 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 nothing. Chiropractor emergency appointment. The damn jaw snaps shut like a turtle shell box. My day, the fingers crushed between teeth. My teeth hurt. Masseter, why won't you yield to my massage? I've pressed each trigger point hard enough, but you refuse to yield. You are as stubborn as my sense of uselessness oozing from every cell. Every breath hurts, but I pretend it doesn't. I tried to read, the words shimmered in a torn hexagon, floating inside my left eye. I mashed every memory of my painlessness in my mouth. The masseter, a brick wall. Is my mouth the door that leads to a bad well of lies? Did I make this dark recess recede further? Did I drown before or after? How do I find the thread to suture me back to the beginning? I have to stop hurting myself. What did I do today? Nothing. When did it start? When did it start? Typical question in every medical intake form. What if I cannot remember? What if there is no clear point of origin, but an infinite tangle of consequences that frothed into being? How do I remember? How do I learn it's okay to just exist? I must learn to stay with the pain. I lie knotted, a knotted muscle fiber lies. I lie knotted. I'm disallowed to just be. How do I remember it's okay to just exist? How do I know it's okay? How do I learn it's okay to just exist? It's okay to just exist. I have to stop hurting myself. I am enough. Am I enough to just be? Am I allowed to just exist? Am I allowed to be without being productive? Am I enough as myself? What if I didn't do anything productive today? Am I allowed to exist if I'm not being productive? I don't think I am. I don't deserve to be if I'm not doing something, producing some result. Who taught me that? Why do I believe this lie? Why do I believe this? What did I do today? Nothing. How do I remember to not hate my failing body? Every breath hurts, but I pretend it doesn't. This is how you survive chronic pain. You lie to your body, you lie to your mind, and then you believe the lie to survive. For 17 years, every smile has hurt. Every memory is tainted with a jaw spasm, a cartilage crunch. For every laughter, I paid a heavy price for every laughter. I've been taught I'm worthless unless productive. Who taught me this lie? The headache sharpens into a red dot in my left eye. I stop trying to stop the cascade of pain triggers. I let them bloom. What did I do today? Nothing. I spent hours, fingers pressed against the masseter, trying to unlock my disobedient mouth, the unforgiving jaw. Nothing is a stone I swallow. I did nothing except survive today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this amazing work. Thank you. We're so glad to be able to host it online, which is where it really belongs, right? With the full multimedia experience of it. So we're very glad that MQR has this really interesting online folio as well. And Ashwini, since you are local, right? You're in Michigan. So we were able to have a really great experience in the Room Project in Detroit, where you led us in a writing prompt based on what you just read. And the prompt was, find your way out of the tentacles of this lie. And it was just the amazing prompt. And I remember also how we all wrote on with that, now witnessing you perform this right now. So thank you so much. And the next person who's going to read is Ahana Ganguly, a writer and editor based in New York City. She's a second-year MFA candidate at Pratt Institute and holds a BA in English from Pomona College. She is the submissions editor of the fabulous Future Poem and an editorial associate at Enchanted Lion Books. She works primarily in creative nonfiction and the essay, and we are so delighted that you are here with us. Thank you so much, and over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Like Ashwini said, it was really exciting being part of this issue. Like, it's such a beautiful collection of writing. Okay, I'm gonna read my piece from the issue, and then I'm also gonna read another small essay from the same project on my dad's request, who's listening for Father's Day. And it should still be in the six minute timeline. Okay. So my essay is called My Egg, My Egg, I learned that my eggs are large enough to see with the naked eye, and I dream of seeing one. I dream of finding it in my underwear and touching it. I can picture it so clearly, so me and so present, sitting sticky. In my dream, we remember each other, and it's a warm reunion. Both of us warm, both of us from my body, every cell in me producing heat, and we love each other and have loved each other. One cell, and I can see it. What a dream, what a dream. Because when I learned about cells, the main thing seemed to be that they are so small, too small to see with the naked eye. Too small to see with the naked eye being weak and huge. Around the time I learned this, I would look at the tiled floor in my home, as I think many children did. I would look until the lines were broken, quivering into something prior to a line, the swimming external things that we learned to process together into edge. And I would imagine, which for me was very similar to believing, that I could see its molecules, the tile molecules, there they are. And so, my egg, there it could be. In the same way, there is my egg. There's something vulnerable about the nudity of the eye. We assign it a rawness. And yet, this phrasing seems to say, the eye is naked, and yet it is seeing things, both self-congratulatory and self-deprecating. Every time I feel discharge sliding out of me, I picture my egg encased and carried along, warm and slime-safe in the way a pearl is warm and slime-safe in its oyster. I Google photos of human ova, so I'm ready to receive it. If I know what it looks like, I'll be ready to identify my egg. Really, I want to identify along with it, together. My egg and I, together, identifying. I think the eye is never naked, not really. There is a prevailing mythology around the human egg, which is this. The woman's egg is an inactive body waiting in a before stage for penetration by the man's sperm, the active body. There is a limited number of eggs per woman's body. This does not match the material reality of the egg, which holds most of the chemical and physical movement in an encounter with sperm. Eggs are not fixed in a passive position, and eggs are not fixed in number. Bodies make new eggs travel from the ovary enrobed in fluid, eggs disintegrate in the uterus. And this ends up also being a reintegration, the uterine lining forming and emerging. The eye we call naked sees stagnance and shedding. The images feel so important. I see someone else's egg being compared to a dime. The egg and the dime are sitting next to one another. The egg, visible, is suspended in a contained drop of clear fluid. The egg is marked with an enormous red arrow that makes it identifiable. I see someone else's egg sucked upward into a fine, clear pipette, luminous. The clear petri dish, the clear fluid, the clear pipette, the opaque eggs, all of them are lit from underneath, and all of them are gleaming, visible. My eye is dawning something as I look at the images. I am learning seeing as pure and real. I am learning seeing as access and intimacy. I want a different kind of sight. I want my clothed eye to meet my enrobed egg, and I want them to love each other. I want them to identify each other together, and I want them to feel a recognition, adornment, adoration. Okay, and then this next essay is called, thank you, is called I Like Its Reach. Someone has spilled water on the bus, and I like seeing its reach. It's a little majestic in a low to the ground way, in the way that it has slip-crawled through right to the front of the bus, even though we're in the very back. It's taken a few routes, 3 or 4 round-tipped limbs stretched out, and most of the people it's gone past haven't noticed it, but I like seeing that it has made their shoes wet. It is insidious, but a cheeky insidious, this dirty bus floor water. It hasn't startled anyone, only the person who dropped it, but even then, just for a half second, and then the cap was screwed back on and nobody has paid attention to its scuttle. It luxuriates, its touch stretches. I'm on my way back from the Getty Museum, where I've been told off twice by 2 different museum guards. The first time, a big, tall man wags his finger at me, distilled condescension, walking slowly and clumpingly towards me, one eyebrow raised and mouth turned down, pointing one finger at my water bottle, tisk tisk, his finger saying, "Little girl." The second time, my friend's hand has just brushed an old table that used to be in Europe, and this guard zips to us, is relentless, and her "do you know how old this is?" refuses to allow her indignation to be thrown off course by my friend's immediate apology. I am watching it pool in a shiny silver joint, the only part of the gray floor that reflects any light, and the water makes it even more shiny and even more silver, and squishy too. It jiggles as the bus trundles down the highway. I imagine this warping spreading, the entire structure, bus floor, bus walls, bus roof, joint metal, luggage compartments, undercarriage, bumper rails, battery box, as malleable as this metal joint now looks to be. It is outrageous to not know or to forget the rules of a museum. Touching is not allowed because touching brings the object closer to destruction, and the object here is to preserve. Looking is allowed because the object is here for looking. I wonder if this water spill is pressing the silver closer to rust. Incremental nudges towards decay are paramount danger. We cannot touch the things in the museum because our bodies are ceaseless in their sweat and oil unfurling, marching, slinking out and out. I see a cabinet of curiosities and think that this museum is a perfect cabinet of curiosities, and it becomes a funny feeling to be inside a cabinet of curiosities inside of a cabinet of curiosities, and to become a curiosity inside a cabinet. Too much curiosity, too much cabinet, too much inside. The whole world, the new world, the natural world, contained and collectible and ownable in a way that allows it to be displayed in the home, visible, divided, then tucked into its appropriate compartments to be looked at. Just behind us, flanking the door to this wing of the museum, is a fountain insulated in blue tile. Its chlorinated water, which has been dyed aqua, pushes out of careful vertical pipes, then falls over deliberate rocks, working across its concentric setup. From its center to its edges, its order is this: tallest and broadest spout, boulders arranged in a crown, shorter spouts, rocks with some surface under the water and some above, circular fountain boundary, standing water, rectangular fountain boundary. The still water is especially loud, especially visible. Look how serene, look how blue, look how absolutely it is the color of water. But the rocks, in the places where they are damp but not fully submerged or fully dry, are slimy, and this brown and I are colluding. When the bus slows down on the exit ramp, all the floor water in its octopusing shape that's now touching the driver's cubicle leans forward, then back, reaching out from the joint, then sliding back in. I walk its length when I exit the bus. It's even run down the stairs.
Thank you, Hannah. You know what? I just was realizing that, we co-curated a show that was your brainchild, which was its own other cabinet of curiosities, the Stinky South Asian. And Ashwini's work was part of that curation at Pomona College. So this might be the first time you two are meeting. So there's all sorts of connections and continuities and other work happening with this SomaFlight issue. Thinking about Stinky and the object and all sorts of fluids, I love Tim Jones Yelvington's work. Okay, I've been a fan for a long time, let's just say. So Tim is the author of the fiction volumes Don't Make Me Do Something We'll Both Regret, Texas Review Press. The title tells you all. Strike a Pose, Memoirs of a Lit Diva Extraordinaire, Poem Press, This is a Dance Movie, Tiny Hardcore Press, and Evan's House and the Other Boys Who Live There, Rose Metal Press, and the prize-winning poetry volumes, Colton Behavioral Therapy. I taught this. This was like so fun. And Become on Your Face. So let's hear it for Tim.
Thank you. Hello. Can everyone hear me? Excellent. Good afternoon. I am very grateful to be participating. I'm also grateful for...
Tim, the sound isn't very good. Is there anything you can do with the microphone? It's very tinny.
Mm-hmm. Let me see if it's better without the AirPods. That better?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, go with that.
Yes, very grateful to be here this afternoon and grateful for this incredible issue. I'm reading a sort of condensed, edited, remixed version of my work that appears in the issue. So if folks are using the access guide, what I'm building was created from that text. This is from a bigger project that I began in 2020. It kind of uses like the hero's journey as its container for looking at a whole bunch of stuff, mental health during the pandemic, uprising, police and prison abolition, family trauma narrative. But the two things to know about it are, one, the relationship with the hero's journey is very antagonistic and critical. And then two, the object being sought is the soda strawberry Fanta. Yes, I will read this excerpt. I want to make something with language, something that is for, about, and inspired by K. I seek not verisimilitude, but to scramble the code of longing, infatuation, loving, and the body coming. To open fissures in language that leave the reader feeling edged. Like Kate Bush's voice on her track Ariel, a bird, a hard beat of wings and a lift and dip, a pulsing on the air current. What kind of language is this? What floats between us, this ever-changing world, and into a 69 position that finally, between us, shivers to see your smile. We dither off, neither going to ejaculation, and then your face, sweet, soft, electric. We're so connected, holding you close and stroking your don't you want to tell me how we feel, held, not letting up on the stroking despite real memories. Don't you want the embrace and something more, that I could be forking the first one, a finger, and then another, and then we're explaining something that took us by surprise. Writhe with me, promise in vain. With a love that is real, roll over on top of me between my what happens now, break another rule, my waist, penetrate me with a hard, cool head. I have chosen the hero's journey with my middle finger. I wanted to punk the form. I find inherently specious the notion of a monomyth, that a Euro-descendant narrative could transcend culture, context, and relationships of power. In his encounter with the woman as temptress, the hero must not give in to the temptation toward material pleasure and away from a transcendent divine. Temptress can be a metaphor for any earthly urge, the trope of licentious feminized evil coming to stand in for any and all debasement and derailment of the white man's manifest destiny, which lies in the rejection of the body in pursuit of a disembodied soul and mind. I have come to believe that my appeal to K lies how the space I hold for his desires dissolves certain boundaries that, when enforced with fully American, Puritan, and penal zeal, lay the foundation for our shame. Friend versus lover, hookup versus relationship, carnal versus sensual, debasement versus exaltation. I thought perhaps our sex would be a gift to him and was caught off guard by what it gifted me, a whole ass book of revelation. Our bodies move against each other with the same urgency I hear when Kate Bush sings how she grasps at life, the non-rational, the erotic. What kind of language is this? I want to make something with language, something that is for, about, and inspired by K. I revert to an old favorite, the Dodie Bellamy cunt up. I select my text to juxtapose the cornball with the poetic, the intimate, and smut. Fuck a hero. Embodiment is not my temptation, but my salvation. I accept the challenge. Just when I believed I couldn't ever want for forms, I am wanting to know what you ache for in this ever-changing world would push me through to my art's longing. It interests me how old you were when you saw your first smile. My mind could not. Erase fools, love your dreams, we're so connected. For a while, just you and me, squaring the planets with how we feel, holding on to the nights. We don't center our sorrow, we have memories. Don't you want to tell me how you shrivel me, so close, clenched from fear of more? That I could be yours, don't you ever pain me, pin me without moving, something that took us by surprise. A sexual experience can leave you trapped, tapping against your skull like the glass roll of a polished fishbowl, or it can reconfigure your body and its relationship to the other, to others, and to every molecule of nature it's distressed. First, the prolonged, languid river floats between us, this crouched between our legs, the other door. Electric cock entered, let me shelter you. Don't you wanna? Tell my walls to stretch and shimmer, never say it isn't real. Hold on to the blades with your hands, pant and moan and feel a wish that I could give you something core. I wished for and found your cock and rocked denuded, that I could be yours. No sound coming out of us but the animal, untrue to everybody else but we source our own lifeline from the longing to be free. Because I never, yours and mine, still standing, aware. Don't you wanna? That, the full moon, yes. Thank you.
So fabulous. Thank you, Tim. Thank you once more. I love your work. I love the membranous qualities, the disruptive, the openings that are in your work. And I also so appreciate how many people in this collection speak through with and in close proximity to others. You know, that the new narrative quality that is here is just so powerful in your work, is powerful in many works in the collection. These are not people who write alone, right? We're writing into something that is communal. We write into something that is transgressive. And I just adore that about the work. And I also was so glad that you also came out to join us at the Room Project, because you were in Chicago and not far away. So I love that you were able to join us in person and also inspired us to write. So thank you for your contribution. And it's my real pleasure to introduce my dear friend, Megan Kaminsky, who is a poet and an essayist and the author of 3 books of poetry, most recently Gentle Women, Noemi Press, 2020. And she also has the Prairie Divination deck, Sun Scenes Press, 2022, an illustrated collection of essays and an oracle deck with artist Ann Wheeler, where she turns to the plants, animals, and geological features of the prairie as guides for living in good relation to one another. Megan is very recently a full professor of poetry writing at the University of Kansas. Congratulations so much. And I'm so delighted that you're here with us. I'm so delighted that you're in the collection as well. Over to you.
I'm so excited to be here. For those, everyone here knows this, but Vidhu and Petra's Call for Work was the most beautiful poem in itself. And it really inspired me. And I was like, I need to write something new for this. And the work, the poems that I have in the journal, which I'm going to read from, are set in the Wakarusa wetlands. So thinking with the prompt took me to the wetlands. So I'm going to read 2 of those and then 2 short poems from the same project. Wetlands. I become a body of leaking edges, seep out wounds, cycle through cordgrass, spring moonlets and new rings decked out each evening. Become estuarian light, a cat-tailed moon. So many years people poured their cups into me. Tight sutures dissolved, and soon I spilt stories without discernment. My own wet ruin, breeding grounds for swamp snakes. Years back, she developed blazing migraines, allergies to favorite imbibements. I say this not to claim she loved me, but as evidence, still waters spill over eventually. Even the driest of season gives way to flood. I give way to water when it calls, swim deep in tributaries till they mirror out darkness. Shake loose silt low in hips, wash star song downriver through arms' arterial flow. Feel tides rise in bones before rivers crest banks. Call back to some long misplaced home. A sinkhole in fields now source. A mishearing of what we hunger for. Amulet. I ran so fast in dreams I flew from one place which was a world setting to take place from branch bud blooming crimson, emerging from chest. Atrophied muscles relearn sensation, burn the field down to what remains rooted dark in deep rot. To be large enough to hold another continent, an assortment of characters and scenes, indices of narrative threads seed-stitched in sinew. To outgrow the smallness of a story and compost boggy into new form. On a star-soaked night, I gathered comet tails and advance on prairie grasses and wildflowers simmering. My interest in their skeletal remains, kindling to quicken, ready to burst to flame, to launch me into eye-searing transit. All right. And then 2 more from the manuscript in progress. One day I will go to the mountains and open the door in the sky, which is also the door in the mountain, the door in the bedroom, which is to say the door in my heart. I open it, see myself standing there. I say to myself, what have you been waiting for? I have been all these years nurturing forests and underbrush, columbines and pine, just waiting to envelop in all this green. And I, in the gray waiting of hours, calling into hallways, mistaking echo for return. Such kinship I find now in myself, in this answering of spirit to leaf, to flaming flower, an invocation that came before but could not see. In this stillness, the sleeping cat on my chest, the lone sparrow song. And this last one. Summons. I hold each life tender in hands, and dreaming for radish sprouts abundant, sun to coax young stems into solidity, strong legs hold leaf rosettes, translate light into growth, swell taproots pink. I sing these prayers each morning, each afternoon, each night to chase specters lingering down institutional corridors, to drive away the clawing in my gut. To sing is to summon, to dream a new world, baring one's teeth celebratory to say you, yes, you, this one and this until altogether a garden, a party bursting forth, vegetable, flower, sunlight, singing soil, singing iron-rich, chlorophyll-bound together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Megan. And that was such a beautiful reading, I just have to say. And we really did feel like when reading the work that people responded so much to the call. Petra, I think you would agree. I mean, we were in such a variety of different ways. I mean, nothing was like each other, but there were these interesting synchronicities and community of work being sort of generated or emerging in this grouping. And so we both felt that it was more like community building sort of rather than just a curation. And we thank you for like participating. So I want to, and the next reader, Cynthia Ling Lee, we really responded to the somatic, like the sort of feelings evoked in your work. It was almost felt instructive, like in a weird way, and we really enjoyed it. So I don't want to say too much, but let me introduce you. Interdisciplinary artist and scholar Cynthia Ling Lee creates work that instigates queer, crip, and feminist of color interventions. Lee's literary output primarily takes the form of writing for performance. Her performance work has been presented internationally at venues including Dance Theater Workshop, New York, East West Players, Los Angeles, Kuandu Arts Festival, Taipei, and Chandra Mandapa Spaces, Chennai. Cynthia is an associate professor in the Department of Performance, Play, and Design at UC Santa Cruz. Here is Cynthia.
Thank you so much. It's been such a delight and honor to be part of this issue and to meet you all virtually in this way. So I feel really grateful for that. Can you all hear me okay? Yeah? Okay, cool. The first piece I'm going to read, I do think of as a somatic writing. It's called Fatigue. And I wrote it, I was trying to remember this morning. I think I wrote it in like early spring 2021. I had been living with long COVID for maybe a bit less than a year. And the land that I live on, which is stewarded by the Amamutsan tribal band and is colonially known as Santa Cruz, it was still very much bearing the scars of these catastrophic wildfires that we had had in fall 2020. It still bears those scars, but it was very intense at the time. And it was also, we were leaning into a yet another drought year. So this was coming out of that kind of place. Fatigue. Fatigue. My body feels heavy, magnetized to the ground as if the field of gravity was suddenly stronger. An Earth body on Jupiter, magnetized to the surface of planet, grass, blanket, bed. Skin spreading like liquid jellyfish, suction cupping my body down, down, and out. Verticality seems impossible. The tiredness is not skin, not surface, but profound, deep in the marrow of my bones, as if marrow were squeezed dry, all that delicious, enlivening bone juice dried up, sun-scorched, drought-withered, a collapsed cactus whose fleshy stores have shriveled. No rain on the horizon, no cooling cloud cover, moraine layer burnt to a bright blue harshness. Mornings, waking after 10, 12 hours of fitful sleep, my body announces, no, the texture of unrest. It's as if I haven't closed my eyes, let my body rest in blessed darkness for days. No, no, it says. No, the no is diffuse, but undeniable. A rough texture that travels under skin, pools at the temples, growing brambles throughout the body. The muted, moving Doppler of an ambulance many miles away under my skin, creeping dully through muscle fibers, bloodstream, spine, brain. No, it says, as if the word no could have 1,000 stumbling syllables and as many heads. No, it says, as inarticulate as a screaming child, a sullen child, a bereft and stricken child who can't speak their grief, who can't story their grief, whose grief takes over their body and takes on a living mind of its own. No, no, forever no. That was Fatigue. And then the next piece I'm going to read, it's called a poem in the issue, but it's actually a dance score. So a score in the context of dance it's like an improvisational structure, a set of guidelines or instructions or invitations for movement. And it owes a little bit, I'm realizing, to my teachers, Eiko and Koma, who come out of a Buto lineage but don't identify as Buto dancers. So that tends to be very image-based, often connected to nature, but also like inviting the body-mind into somewhat impossible / altered states. So it comes out of that, and its other main inspiration was I was listening to this very beautiful narrated essay by Robin Wall Kimmerer, who's most known for the book Braiding Sweetgrass, but this is a narrated essay called Ancient Green, Moss, Climate, and Deep Time. And she is a moss scientist. And I was really struck at what felt like resonances between the ways that moss live and the ways that chronically ill, spoony life feels to me, and the lessons that has to offer. So this is called Moss Time, Crypt Time, after Robin Wall Kimmerer. And I will read it, but if any of you want to do the dance later, take it with you and try it out, I would be very delighted. Lie on a rock or other surface. Feel the radiant heat and microclimates formed between body and rock. Do the slow dance of erosion. Open your pores, to the sun. Trail water droplets against skin, the effortless capillary love between water and cellulose. Imagine being drenched in water, grow luxuriantly. Imagine drought, crinkle up, wait. Let eons go by, persist. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yay. I had to come out of my moss dance to say thank you. I love your work in the collection because of this strong sense of dancerly work and this beautiful image of the moss that is such an invitation. So when we read that, I read it as a dance invitation. And I know that we've first began to know each other as dancers and with our skins gliding across one another. So I'm so glad that you're in this. Thank you so much for this reading.
Thank you for having me.
And our next reader is Angela Peña Redondo, who is a queer, non-binary Filipinx writer and author of Nature Felt But Never Apprehended, Noemi Press, 2023, and All Things Lose Thousands of Times, which is the winner of the 2016 Inlandia Institute's Hilary Grafendike Prize. Their work can be found in the Academy of American Poets, Pleiades, Apogee, and elsewhere. They are a recipient of fellowships to Candyman, Macondo, Tin House, and the Community of Writers, and are an assistant professor of creative writing at California State University, San Bernardino. Angela, we're so glad to have you here.
Thank you so much, Petra, and thank you so much, Vidhu, for including me in this reading and for also welcoming my work into this really fabulous, beautiful special issue, SomaFlights. I was really excited and still excited about all the work that's published in the issue. And so, so I'm tuning in from unceded territories of the Squamish and Skagit nations. And I'm so happy to be here. I'm going to read two pieces from the issue, which is also published in my most recent book, Nature Felt But Never Apprehended. So thanks again to Petra and Vidhu for publishing those two pieces because you're also supporting my book. So what I could say, I guess, about these two pieces that I'm going to read is that I try to center the femme and our queer femme protagonist as they navigate through histories or formally colonized landscapes, liberation, narratives of despair, as well as abundance and struggle. And so this first piece is somewhat an homage to the grandmother, my matrilineal grandmother who I never met. And it's titled Keeper of Blades. She transforms into a keeper of blades, a herald of salt, and bread stacked like Sagada's hanging sepulchres, egg-shaped heirloom of black pearls, pollen from calla lilies, pock the mantle. Her handsome head turns thorny, shattering her family's fine plates on a polished floor. Pin marks on a pomelo tree, silver brocade of a Visayan leopard holds an anger that hates moderation. She wants something she's told she shouldn't have. Her husband does not articulate this, but shows how his kind of freedom was not designed for her. So she keeps naming what intercepts between her window and the noise in her head. Rainbow eucalyptus, brandy, cassava, jade earrings, a servant, a nurse, a teacher, Anna and the King of Siam, wiki wacky woo. She smashes everything until fractures blur to be of the ruling class. And this last piece I'm going to read, I've been reading so much and I've been enjoying this read. So I will read excerpts of it to stay, to keep time. And it is titled Transmitter Signals from a Young Brown Feminist. Dear queer choreography, Moro folkloric dance moves to Madonna's Like a Virgin. And dear gay immigrant child raised in the 90s, not to be mistaken for digital natives who obsess over throwbacks, Prince of Bel-Air and metallic balloon pants turned Jungle Asia Monstera print. When gasoline was under $1, minimum wage $3.75. Wooden abanicos like knives, hair of jaunty sunburst. Sunday chic, dear limbs of my women, so much drama decentering comeuppance. Dear archipelago swag, techno versions, after years of teenage neardom, wet and wild, lips, teased bangs at junior high skating rinks. Then puberty came like Bobby Brown's no prerogative. Dear festival of another virgin in black biker shorts, raptorial nails and slumber parties. Ferris wheel lit over a soccer field. Dear coarse summer grasses, church basketball courts, and radio hits on police brutality. Dear you who question who could live as a boy, as America's brown pop stars in fake leather, Art Deco neck change spelling out your girlfriend's nickname, their mohawk black hair, skin of cassia, eyes like Pasequa. Dear self who ran away, who could not be father's son, father's right mind, even with a penciled Zorro stash, rolled cameo sleeves, wing-tip taxi dance hall shoes. Dear Providence, under pressure, culture vultures, belly bulging with trapped love, ancestral grief, saints of transmission, Kile queens to believe in, painted Bisayan princess, poet Aranistas unusual and rare, writing into existence a pantheon of God XX. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Angela. And I have the luck of having nature felt but never apprehended. And I have to say, I think I've said this to you, but your work, the texture of it reminds me of early MIA videos. Okay, so let me just say, and I'm a fan. Okay, so our final reader, Ricky Ray, we loved the dog. I just want you to know we loved the dog. Can I just say that? Well, you'll find out. I don't want to say too much about this because you'll hear it. Ricky Ray is a poet, essayist, and eco-mystic who lives with his wife and his old brown dog in the old green hills of the Hudson Valley. He is the author of Fealty, Quiet, Grit, Glory, and The Sound of the Earth Singing to Herself, a finalist for the Laurel Prize. He was educated at Columbia University and Bennington College, and he lectures on poetry, animism, and integral ecology. He sings and things at rickyray.earth. And let's hand it to Ricky Ray.
Thank you, Petra, Vidhu, all you amazing co-readers. It's been a great way to spend this afternoon, and likewise, you know, the call was really meaningful to me. I don't submit a lot often anymore. I don't like to just throw work at the wall anymore and see what sticks. You know, I'm looking for places where the work feels like it could potentially really be at home there, and it's the right place for it to live. And you know, it felt like you were looking for modes of consciousness that are built on relational ontologies, not that, you know, I feel like the self and mind are things that we share and build together, not just things we possess. And so it felt like you were looking for something along those lines. And so this piece that you accepted, I've been working on for a couple of years, and I could never stick the landing, and it was driving me crazy. But I finally figured it out right before I found the call, and so everything just came together. So I'm going to read a couple poems. It's about my relationship with my dog Addie, who's the heart of my next book. She's a 15-year-old Irish setter, chocolate lab mix. She was diagnosed with a fatal brain tumor about 15 months ago. She's lived longer than they thought they would. She's sleeping on the floor in front of me, so she's here with us. And I'm writing a series of poems that are born of my walks with her. So this one's called Walk with Addie, the Durska Forest. And if you can envision it, we live at the top of the hill. And if you go down the hill through the woods, there's a lake. And if you walk around the edge of that lake, at the top of the lake, there's this area called the Durska Forest, which is a natural forest that can't be developed here. And so that's where we take a lot of our walks and where this poem originated. Walk with Addie, the Durska Forest. The day before the pain descended, the air was so full of softness, I could barely stand it. Addie and I walked like two parts of the same animal, the one we can feel, but not see between us. Her bottle-brush tail conducted the air, and I remembered having wagged one myself. A fern shadow trembled on an island of moss, and I thought it was the ghost of a tree. Addie bent to chew softwood, taking her time, marking the spot for our lunch. Oh, hen bones we stewed till marrow slid from their flutes. Oh, muscle, oh, gristle, oh, broth, slurp and swallow. Oh, glisten of fat on our lips. We ate and walked on and spooked a family of deer, and Addie nearly leapt out of her skin. I wanted to let her, to unravel the leash in her age and let the blue bomb of desire blow. I wanted to eat of her kill, to taste the secrecies of the deer's rich liver, tough heart, sweet back. I wanted the deer to leap from the woods into our bodies, ignite our knees with its buoyancy and grace. It did. We felt its leap lift us a foot off the ground. Didn't need to eat the deer to be one. We turned and breathed hard, moistening each other's faces, our heartbeats loud in our ears, Addie's bark enlarging the valley, my throat sore from the change in weather. Croak, the initiation rite of my favorite season, fall. My favorite answer to suffering's interrogation. Why live? And its sinister temptation. It would be so easy to die. Why live? Because such primal softness exists, and we are of it, and we are fed into its many mouths. Because the light was honey drizzling wherever it fell. Because that day, on that walk, all of Earth's children leapt into our faces and said, notice me, notice me. The tone of the ether, the tuft of deer on the thorn, its scent like amphetamines in Addie's old blood, the tree shadows dancing, the chill rising from the ground. So slight my sweater felt like a fur I'd grown into. Yes, I was become goat again from the neck down, so wise, so warm, so sure the world was waiting to be eaten. Notice me. I did. The way two bodies notice each other in the night. But it was light, day, so my senses made love to every insignificant pattern they encountered. Or did the trees and the deer and the untold shifting patterns make a sensual dish of me? Was I the feast of consciousness they'd been waiting to consume? Indeed. Perhaps hunger finally says this. We're the earth's appetites, our bodies her ingredients, our desires her means of devouring the entire living tapestry of herself. Addie swallowed me, and me her, and the day was a beautiful mouth. Thank you. I'll stop there for time. So I appreciate your welcoming me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ricky. What a wonderful way to end us on the day. It was a beautiful mouth. And here we are on a, well, it's not quite summer. It's a few days before summer's day, but I'm feeling that tactile. Like Vidhu said, we love the dog. We love the merger with the dog. We love the merger with the tree. We love the interpenetration. It goes, I'm sure our other listeners and readers here feel the connections between this poem, this rich poem, and so many of the other pieces that we've shared, from moss to membranes to cocks to mouths.
Thank you all, and thank you for like extending and being part of this community here. And we just hope for more entanglements in different ways.
Indeed. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, beautiful audiences. I'm going to make a quick photo. I'm sorry that I has already to leave, but let's make a photo. Hi, everybody. Hello.
Hi.
Okay.
Thank you all so much. And thank you to our viewers for joining us as well. And you can, of course, buy the new issue of MQR on our newsstand or through our website. And be sure to stay tuned. We'll be doing many more of these issue launches with our friends at Michigan Quarterly Review in the future. But thanks again to all of our contributors, and to editors Vidhu and Petra, and to all of you viewers for being part of this.
And thank you
afternoon.
At Home Literati and John for your generosity to us.
It's our pleasure and honor. So thank you, and have a great afternoon, everybody. Take care.
Bye.
For
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you so
Great.
much.